Some of us really need to touch grass, like seriously. Because let's be real, without social media, there are a lot of things that a lot of y'all would not want the way you want it right now. So sometimes you really gotta ask yourself, like, do I really want this, or do I just feel like I need to have it because everyone else is doing it, everyone else has it? Heaven sent you to me. I'm just hoping I don't be. Hey girl, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Trinity if you're new here, and today we're going to be doing a little chit chat. Get ready with me, and we're going to be talking about lessons I've learned while in my 20s. For context, I'm 28 years old and I've learned a whole lot of things in my 8 years in my 20s so far. So I just want to share them with y'all. We're going to be talking about like life lessons in general. We're also going to talk about relationship lessons and friendship lessons. Like I said, this is going to be a chit chat. Get ready with me. So I'm going to be doing this look while we chat. If you love content like this that helps you become your best self, content that helps you to elevate in all aspects of your life, make sure you subscribe because that's what we're all about over here. And without further ado, let's get right into the lessons. So of course, we're going to start with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip. This one is like $9. I believe the Milk Hydro Grip is like $40. I kind of want to put my scarf on. Hopefully this goes well because I cannot see myself in the mirror. The camera's in the way. This is the Refined Brow Sculpt. If you're not new to my channel, you know I talk about this product all the time. I like to use this whether I'm wearing makeup or not. This is just going to give my brows that laminated fluffy effect before filling them in. Clearly there's not much in here. Okay, so lesson number 1. You can't be delusional and think that life will ever be perfect. Life will never be perfect. You kind of have to expect things to happen, and I'm not saying like walk around and go through life just waiting for the next shoe to drop. This is the Morphe Micro Brow in the shade Java. I'm not saying go through life waiting for the other shoe to drop, because I feel like that just puts you in like a pessimistic mindset and it makes it really hard for you to really enjoy life. What I am saying is, I think people who have a really hard time when small inconveniences happen, and like people who feel like it's the end of the world whenever anything happens, whether it's big or small, those people usually don't go with the flow of life. They have this unrealistic expectation that life is supposed to be uphill most of the time, and that's not the case. Things are going to happen. I remember one day I walked outside and my car just would not start, and I remember just laughing. I was like, you know what, why am I even surprised? Like, it's always something. Usually when things are going really good, something is going to happen to throw you off course, and you just can't get so worked up about it. We have to learn how to be solution based and just learn how to find the solution to whatever problem we're going through. And if it's not a problem that you can actually solve, like if it's like a traumatic life event or something, you have to just work through it until you get through it. You cannot go through life thinking that things can't happen to you, things won't happen to you, nothing bad happens, bad things don't happen often. Like, you just can't have that unrealistic mindset. I honestly think that when we accept that fact, when we accept that life is like this and you really just have to go with it, you have to ride the roller coaster, it makes life more enjoyable and more tolerable. Life is always going to inconvenience you, sweetie. So you can't be ready to just clock out of here as soon as you have a slow season with your business, or if your money is just funny for a little while. I'm going to use my Dior, what's this called? Concealer. This is in the shade, this is in the shade 4.5N. And we're going to use this to carve out the brows. I'm going to have to use this mirror because I cannot see. All right, so moving on to the next one. Yes, I have these in my notes. There's no way to have what you want when you don't know exactly what you want. And I know that might sound like common sense, but it's really not as common as you think. I don't know if y'all watch Pop the Balloon on YouTube. I'm like obsessed with that little series. I don't put so many of my clients on because when I'm at work, that's like all I watch. If you watch that show, you know that there are a lot of people who go on that show who have no idea what they want. They have no idea what they're looking for. And it's always so funny when they reject someone and they just say, he's not my type, or he's not what I'm looking for, or she's not what I'm looking for. And then the host says, well, why not? What are you looking for? And they can't answer the question. Like, what about this person isn't what you're looking for? They just don't know, because a lot of people are just going off of vibes. You can't be going through life just making decisions off vibes. You need to stop going off of feelings, and you need to start being specific about what you want. And this is not even just in dating. This is in life, period. I know there's someone watching right now who's in a season where they feel like their life is not what they want it to be. And they only really feel that way because the conditions they're in right now are not favorable. But what exactly do you want your life to look like? What exactly do you want? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your relationship to look like? What kind of man do you want to be in a relationship with? What kind of man do you want to be married to? What kind of career do you want to have? How much money do you want to make? What kind of car do you want to drive? What kind of house do you want to live in? What city would you like to live in? How do you want to dress on a daily basis? What do you want people to see when they look at you? You got to be so specific about all this stuff because that's the only way you can be intentional and make your way to those things. We're going to use the NARS foundation in the shade New Caledonia. I don't think this matches me perfectly anymore because seasons are changing, but neither here nor there. We're going to make it work. Anyone who has seen a good amount of my videos knows that I preach this all the time. You have to know what you want. There's no way to be intentional when you don't even know what you're aiming for. Like, a lot of people are just going through life, doing a whole bunch of stuff, just hoping that something sticks. When you're not intentional, you'll date anyone, you'll do anything, you'll take any job offer, maybe not any job offer or any person, but you won't really have specific requirements for what you're getting into because you're just going off of vibes. There's no longevity in vibes. I know we're not in the relationship category yet, but whatever, we're gonna talk about dating. My dating life improved so much when I started being intentional about the men I was dating, the type of men I was dating. For a while, I didn't really have no criteria. I was talking to guys who wanted to talk to me. I mean, if they were interested, I was giving them a chance if I thought they were attractive and had some of the things I knew I wanted, because I didn't really know exactly what I was looking for, to be honest. Next, we're using the Huda Beauty concealer. This is the full filter concealer in the shade Candy Ginger. Yeah, Candy Ginger. But when I made a list of all the things I needed in a partner, all the things I needed in a husband, because I mean, we dating to marry at this point. I stopped giving my number out to people who didn't fit that description. I stopped entertaining people who didn't fit that description because it was pointless. Like, I'm just not in the business of wasting time. So, like, what are we doing? I'm gonna spray my face with this Morphe setting mist. I feel like my makeup blends so much better when I do this. So yeah, be very specific about what you want. The next thing I learned is that you do not have to have your life together in your 20s. I think our generation just feels this pressure to have all these things and all this money and fancy cars and designer bags and everything because of social media. I think we're the first generation to have so much access to other people's lives and their successes and what they're doing. So it puts so much pressure on us to, or I'm not even gonna say it puts so much pressure on us. We put so much pressure on ourselves to have what everyone else has. Honestly, some of us really need to touch grass, like seriously. Because let's be real, without social media, there are a lot of things that a lot of y'all would not want the way you want it right now. So sometimes you really gotta ask yourself, like, do I really want this, or do I just feel like I need to have it because everyone else is doing it, everyone else has it? Social media got a lot of people feeling like they gotta buy a home by the age of 25. Freaking 16-year-olds feeling like they gotta move out of their parents' house at the age of 16 and get a fully renovated apartment. Like, you don't need to do that. I mean, if that's what you want to do, then okay, but I think we really have to give ourselves reality checks and ask ourselves, do I really want this? Like, is this something that I really truly desire? Would I desire this if I didn't see everybody else doing it? And if I didn't have social media to post that I accomplished this thing, would I be so pressed to do it? Some of y'all would not be buying all this designer if y'all weren't just pressed to post it. I'm just saying. And you also shouldn't want to peak in your 20s. This is the One Size powder. I forgot what it's called. One Size, whatever. I don't know. In the shade Translucence. Yeah, you shouldn't want to peak in your 20s. Like, when I think about Beyonce and the fact that this woman is in her mid 40s and I feel like she's at her peak right now, that makes me give myself so much grace. Like, girl, you got so much time. Please. I don't want to be my finest at the age of 28. I don't want to be my most successful at the age of 28. I don't want there to be nowhere else to go from where I am right now. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, wanting excellence now, whatever age you are, but you also got to give yourself grace. Your whole life is not going to be figured out in your 20s. What would you do in your 30s if you had everything you possibly wanted in your 20s? Again, that's not to say don't focus on some of the goals you have right now in your 20s, but don't feel like you have to have it all. You don't have to own the home and drive the luxury car and have the husband and have the kids and have the business be making 6 or 7 figures. You don't have to have all of that stuff right now. Like, give yourself grace to be able to acquire all those things over time, in your 30s, in your 40s. Like, relax. And this is a message for me too, because I put the same pressure on myself. Okay, now we're gonna move on to relationships. Lessons I've learned in relationships. Got a few of those. Okay, we're gonna say dating and relationships. This is one I preach all the time, but do not let your life revolve around a man. Please, 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 please. Your identity should not be being someone's girlfriend or being someone's wife. You should find value in yourself outside of those roles and titles. You also should not only feel significant and of value when you're connected to someone. I had that issue for a very long time. I don't know why, but for the longest time, I felt like if I wasn't in a relationship, like if nobody was choosing for me to be their girlfriend, there was something wrong with me. Like, yeah, you got all this stuff going on. Yeah, you're cute. Yeah, you got your own business. You got money or whatever. But I mean, nobody's choosing you. So there gotta be something wrong with you. And that's because society makes us feel that way. Society makes it seem like there's something wrong with the woman if she's beautiful and has her own stuff going on, but she isn't in a relationship, or she isn't married yet by a certain age, or if she doesn't have kids. There's nothing wrong with you. I mean, yeah, you may have stuff to work on, but that's not to say that you're of any less value just because you're not in a relationship. A man choosing you does not determine your worth. I know men like to think that they got power like that, but they really don't. Because I mean, let's be real. Men like to make it seem like there's something wrong with us if we're single. But really, a lot of women are single because they don't feel like dealing with men who don't meet not one standard. We're gonna use the Sephora Micro Smooth powder in the shade Hazelnut. I love this powder. If you're looking for a pressed powder for like all over to set your face, girl, try this. And I think when people hear that being a girlfriend or being a wife or being a mom should not be your identity, they think you're saying you shouldn't be proud to be all those things. And I'm not saying that at all, because one thing about me, I'm very proud to be a mother. But being a mom is not my identity. There are so many other layers to me. There are so many other important aspects of me, interesting aspects of me. And I would be doing myself a disservice if I only cared about my son. If I dedicated my whole entire life to my son and didn't pour into myself as an individual, I would be doing him a disservice, and I'd also be doing myself a disservice. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to have your own stuff going on. You have to have things that are just for you. You have to do some type of self-care. Get a hobby. Don't spend all your free time with your man. Like, girl, go out, get your nails done. Leave him for about 2 hours. Like, believe it or not, there are women who don't go do anything for themselves because they feel like they gotta be up under their man 24/7. Men don't let their lives revolve around us. They just don't. And I'm not saying be tit for tat. I'm saying learn from the men in your life, because they know how to set healthy boundaries. Well, sometimes it's not really healthy, but they know how to maintain their individuality even when they're in relationships and marriages, as they should. We just gotta learn how to do the same thing. Not the battery about to die. Like, what? Okay, now, like I was saying, basically, you just need to have a life outside of your man. I really used to be the girl who would only go out when her boyfriend had plans. And I do feel like, especially if you're married, I mean, I don't like to speak on marriages because I ain't married, but I do feel like you should have respect for your partner to where you're checking with them like, hey, what you got going on today? I'm thinking about doing this. I do feel like that's good. And I also do not feel like you should be going out every single night or majority nights of the week when you're in a relationship. I just don't. I don't feel like you should be spending more time with your friends than you spend with your partner. But I do know people who don't spend any time with their family, no time with their friends, because they are always with their partner. And then if they are spending time with the family and the friends, they trying to bring the partner with them. Like, please, spare us. Leave that at home, because we trying to spend time with you. Like, we gotta start valuing sisterhood and friendship the way we value romantic relationships. This is something that I feel like a lot of women don't learn until they get older, because it's like the older we get, the more mature we become. We really seek sisterhood. We're very intentional about it. A lot of us want to spend more time with our friends. We want to have girl chats. We want to be able to catch up with our friends and go out to dinner or go out to brunch at least every now and then. We value it more as we get older, but these are things that I feel like should be taught at a young age. We're taught to only care about becoming a wife, being someone's girlfriend, becoming a mother, and pleasing men. But nobody really teaches us how to be good friends. I mean, let's be honest. Nobody's teaching us how to be good friends. And that's why, all right, wait, I'm gonna save that one. I'm gonna save that one till we get to the friendship category, but just wait, because I got something for y'all. Next, I'm going to bronze, if I can open it, with my Fenty Beauty Sunstalker in the shade Mocha Mommy. Okay, so the next relationship lesson I learned is to stop putting men on pedestals. Yeah. And really, I mean this in a bunch of different ways, but we're going to focus on one thing in particular here. This is something I struggled with for a really long time. I used to be very insecure in relationships, just constantly thinking about, like, what if my partner cheats? Like, I know girls are interested in him. I know he's good looking. He's probably talking to girls. He's probably doing XYZ. Like, I would be so hyper focused on it. I would stress myself out so bad. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, you stressing about this is not gonna stop it if it's gonna happen. Like, there's literally nothing you can do. If a man wants to cheat, he's gonna cheat. There's nothing you can do. Like, you have to be with a man who doesn't have a desire to cheat. That doesn't mean he doesn't see other women and think they're good looking. You know, men are gonna think women are attractive. That's just what it is. That's another thing I've learned, and I had to accept it because I was very delusional and thought that my man had to be like blind to the fact that other women were beautiful in order for him to be faithful. That's not true. But anyway, I used to be so hyper focused on the thoughts of my boyfriend cheating on me with someone. And I'm not even just talking about my current boyfriend. I'm talking about like guys I dated in general. I was always so worried about what they could possibly do. And it wasn't until I spent time with myself and really built up my confidence and my self-esteem that I realized I got just as much motion, if not more, than a man. Like, anything you could do, I could do too. I mean, not that I'm going to, but I could literally do the same thing as you. And you would be just as hurt as me, if not more. And when you really realize that, like when you realize that a man cheating on you is not the end of the world, when you realize that you having to leave a man for cheating is not the end of the world, when you realize that there are men in this world who want you to, just like there are women who want your man, you save yourself so much stress. I'm telling you. This is the e.l.f. blush in the shade Always Rosy. Love this blush. This is probably the only blush I've used in the past year. Like, stressing yourself out about it, beating his phone down about it, begging him to not go out, or trying to control him, telling him, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. You don't need to be stressing yourself out about the what ifs. If he hasn't done it yet, or if you have no proof that anything is going on, don't sit there and harbor on it and stress yourself out to the point where you about to have a heart attack. Okay, we got 2 in the friendship category, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Let me do my lip. Hopefully my lip liner is in here. Haha. This is the, oh my god, my freaking camera's about to die. Hold up, y'all. Sorry. What was I saying? Oh, let me do this lip first. Actually, I'm gonna tell y'all the first point first. So, when it comes to friendships, you gotta know how to compartmentalize your friends. Sorry, I gotta focus when I'm doing this. Anyone who knows me knows that I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people for a bunch of different reasons. First off, I went to like 8 or 9 different schools my whole life. But one thing I feel like I've always been really good at is compartmentalizing my friends and understanding the fact that there are levels to friendship. Where the heck? Oh, everyone doesn't have to be at the same level in your life. And I used to have people get mad at me for that. Like, I used to have people I was cool with get upset with me if I wasn't spending a whole lot of time with them, or if I wasn't calling them often, or if they weren't invited to certain things I was having like at my house or something. People would get upset with me, and they got upset with me because they felt like we were closer than we actually were. Because there are a lot of people who feel like if you're cool with them, y'all like this. And that's not really how it goes. Like, just because we're cool, just because we're acquaintances, doesn't mean that when I have my close friends over my house for a little small event, I gotta invite you. There are people who I'm cool with who, like, if I got married, I may not invite them to my wedding because we may not be on that level. Like, there are levels to it. And I never got offended by stuff like that. The only way I would get offended is if I know for a fact that I am like this with somebody and they just leave me out of something. Then of course I'll get upset. But it's so important to not deem yourself close to someone just because you know them, or just because y'all have a couple conversations, just because y'all go out every now and then. I have friends, homegirls or whatever, who I chat with every now and then. Like, we might text. That doesn't mean that we're close friends. And I think a lot of people need to learn that. And when you learn that, it'll make you a lot less upset with people when they don't include you on certain things. Like, everybody you're cool with does not need to be at every event. I think it's very important to note that friends on all levels are necessary. Like, acquaintances are necessary, little homegirls are necessary, your co-worker friends are necessary, and they don't all have to be mixed. That's the other part to compartmentalizing your friends. You don't have to mix everyone. I got certain friends who I would not invite out to eat in like a group setting. I have friends who, when a bill comes, we just splitting it down the middle. I have friends who ain't going for that. So I'm never gonna mix those friends because I know that's gonna be an issue. I am cool with both. Whichever way y'all wanna do it, I'm fine. But I don't want to ever make it uncomfortable for anyone in any situation. So I just know not to mix those people. I am cool with people who like to go to hookah lounges and clubs and stuff like that. My friends know that's not my thing. So don't even invite me because I'm probably not going to come. Maybe if it's your birthday, I might show up. But other than that, if you just going just for a casual fun time, I'm probably not going to that. There are certain friends you can't travel with. I'm going to set with my One Size setting spray. And then I got to go. Okay, last one for the friendship category. I learned that your friends deserve just as much grace as men. I say this all the time. If you follow me on Instagram, you've heard it. If you've seen any of my YouTube videos, you've heard it. Follow me on TikTok, you've heard it. But I gotta preach this because this is something that I feel like women really need to understand. We are so quick to cut our friends off for minor offenses, but we let men skate with the craziest stuff. Now, I'm not saying you need to let your friends play in your face because you let your man play in your face. No, you don't need to be letting nobody play in your face. But I will say that if you're letting your man get away with murder, why would you cut your homegirl off after she did one thing you didn't like? Like, you didn't even feel like it was worth the conversation. There are so many women who won't even have conversations with their friends when their friends do something wrong because they feel like, oh, she knew what she was doing. Okay, he knew what he was doing too. But you had a million conversations with him and took him back a million different times. Why don't your friends deserve that same grace? I sat down and I really thought about this a while ago, and I came to the conclusion that a lot of women do that because we hold our friends to a higher standard than we hold men, which is very unfair. You need to hold both to the same standard. We get so mad at our friends when they do things we don't like because we feel like, dang, you my girl, like, I really thought you had me. I thought you really had my best interest at heart. I thought we were like this. I thought we were locked in. I didn't expect you to do no shady stuff like that. But with men, sad to say, we expect men to do little shady stuff. We expect them to maybe not be faithful. We expect them to not show up for us the way we really need them to. We set the bar down here. Like, the bar is down here for men and it's up here for our friends. Again, not fair at all. So I just want to say, offer your friends the same grace. Value your friendships just as much as you value your romantic relationships. Because at the end of the day, when the men ain't there, your friend's there. Your real friends. So if you have a real friend who you know has really been there for you, and maybe y'all just had like a little situation that can be ironed out, why not take the time to iron it out? Why not take the time to have a conversation? Why not put in the work to rekindle that friendship? I'm just saying, I mean, I'm just the messenger. Y'all asked, I delivered. All right, that's the end of our little chit chat. Get ready with me on lessons I've learned in my 20s. As always, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.